The next form of therapy that we will be studying is called cognitive therapy. This is on page number 99. According to the cognitive therapy, irrational thoughts and beliefs cause psychological disorders. So when we have thoughts that are irrational or unrealistic, then it may lead to psychological disorders. Under cognitive therapy, you need to know about rational emotive therapy, which was given by Albert Ellis. It is also called the RET, which emphasizes on the emotions of the client, which emphasizes on replacing the negative emotions of the client by positive emotions. And to do that, Albert Ellis suggests a method called ABC analysis, which stands for antecedent, belief, and consequence. Antecedent, like I had mentioned earlier, refers to the causal factor or the activating event. Belief refers to what does your client believe about the cause. Consequence refers to the result that the belief of the client leads to. Let's take an example. Now, you are a student of class 12 and say you have been assigned various assignments, you have been assigned various projects, right? So, and you believe that you are supposed to be perfect at your assignments and project. You believe that you should be able to complete it in the best manner possible and that you should be appreciated and approved by your teacher, right? So what will be the consequence? The consequence will be that you will pressurize yourself, and in case you are not the best at your project, you will feel that you are worthless and you are not capable enough and you are not efficacious, right? So it will lead to a lot of negative thoughts in you. That is the consequence. What is the antecedent? What is the activating event? The antecedent or the cause here is being assigned various homework and projects. And what do you believe about it? That you have to be the best at it. And that belief is not rational, it is irrational. Okay, it is not necessary that you have to be the best at everything. You may give your best, but there may be people who complete the project in a better manner than you. You have to be able to accept that fact, right? So as a cognitive therapist, according to Albert Ellis, if I am able to change the belief of my client about the antecedent, the consequence will also automatically change. Okay, the consequence was all of those negative thoughts, right? Now, if I can help you to believe that assignments and projects are just a part and parcel of your curriculum and you don't have to be the best at it always, then the consequence will also automatically change and you will not have negative thoughts. That's about ABC analysis. Next, we have cognitive therapy given by Aaron Beck. Aaron Beck emphasized on a concept known as core schemas. So everything that we face, every experience that we have, all of it gets saved in the form of schemas. And all the experiences that we have with the family or with the society during our childhood are the most important ones. Okay, all those experiences form our core schemas or the central schemas. They kind of govern how our life in the future is going to be, right? So according to Aaron Beck, if something goes wrong in the core schemas and if there's something dysfunctional in the core schemas, then there are high chances that that individual will have various issues and problems in the future. Let's take an example. This is given in your book as well. A child neglected by the parents develop a core schema of I am not wanted. So because the child is neglected by his parents, he believes that he is not wanted in general. Later, when he grows up and he starts going to school, he faces a critical incident where he is ridiculed or insulted by the teacher in the class. Now, this incident is going to trigger off the core schema of I am not wanted. So this incident is going to remind the child of his childhood where he was neglected by his parents. And this will lead to negative thoughts. The child will generalize it and think that he is not wanted by anyone, he is not loved by anyone, he is worthless and has no value. and this will lead to cognitive distortions, meaning dysfunctional thoughts in the person. Then we have cognitive distortions are ways of thinking which distort the reality in a negative manner. So if you have thoughts like I am not wanted by anyone and I will never be approved by anyone, these are not realistic thoughts. Okay, these kind of thoughts are distorting the reality, and this will lead to dysfunctional cognitive structures. All the thoughts that you have will become dysfunctional, and the repeated occurrence of this dysfunctional cognitive structures or the repeated occurrence of these negative thoughts will lead to feelings of anxiety and depression in the client. So to help the client, the therapist will use a very gentle questioning method where the therapist will not ask very direct questions, but the therapist will ask questions like, why should everyone love you? Why is it necessary that everyone has to approve of you all the time? Right? So when this kind of questions are asked, the client will be made to think in an opposite direction. Because see, the client has been thinking that he should be loved by everyone and accepted by everyone. And now the therapist is asking, why should everyone love you? Why is it important that everyone has to accept you? This will make the client think in an opposite direction. And thus, eventually, the client will gain an insight or an awareness into the dysfunctional schemas and the client will be able to alter the cognitive structures or the thoughts. So that's why they say that the main aim of the cognitive therapy is to achieve this cognitive restructuring. So meaning the client already has a basic cognitive structure, a basic set of thoughts. Now the therapist will try to restructure it or change it, and this in turn will reduce anxiety and depression in your client. Cognitive therapy is open, meaning the therapist shares his or her method with the client. The therapist is not secretive here. Unlike in psychodynamic therapy, the therapist cannot reveal to the client that now free association is going to be conducted on you, or dream analysis is going to be conducted on you, or now transference is going to take place and there will be resistance. You can't tell your client all these things, otherwise it will not be effective. That's the case with psychodynamic therapy. But in cognitive therapy, the therapist is very free and frank with the client, and the therapist shares about the methods that he plans to use. The cognitive therapy is one of the shortest form of therapy, and it lasts only for 10 to 20 sessions. The most recent development in this area or in this field